welcome. Today we're in Basingstoke.
Oh, no, we're not.
Oh, yes, we are.
It's pantomime time again, and here in the Anvil Theatre they've been watching a wonderful production of Sleeping Beauty. And my guest today has been described as one of Britain's finest actresses and everybody's favourite mum. I'm sure you remember a number of her TV productions, Not in Front of the Children, A Mother Makes Three, and Butterflies. More recently as the matron in that wonderful series of The Royal. I want to welcome that wonderful good fairy, otherwise known as Wendy Craig.
Hello, that's a good build-up.
It was a wonderful build-up. Wendy, I know you've just come off stage. Thank you so much for taking this time to talk with us. We really do appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about pantomime and we're going to talk about television and that. But maybe first we could talk just a little bit about you. And if you could tell us a little bit of your early life and growing up.
Well, I was born in a little mining village in County Durham, and it was called Sacriston, and I went to school in Durham. My father's business, with his brothers, he had a business that did absolutely everything. There were sand and gravel quarries, they had cement making factory, they had... I can't remember what they had. They had so many things. Oh, yes, they were undertakers. They used to make coffins. They built houses. Anything you wanted doing in Sacriston, you went to the Craig brothers. Yes.
It must have been a bit of a mixture for you growing up with all those things going around you.
Well, you know, I wasn't involved in that. I was just at school in Durham. And then they moved around a bit. The company broke up. My dad moved around to Rowland Scale and then to Darlington. And we ended up on a farm in Picton, which is a little village just outside Yarmont in the North Riding of Yorkshire, which was my favourite place to be because all those animals and beautiful countryside. And yes, I was happiest of all on the farm.
In your early life, did pantomime play any part for you? I mean, do you remember going to pantomime, enjoying it or not enjoying it?
The first time I ever went to the theatre was to a pantomime. I think it was Goldilocks and the Three Bears. I know my brother was frightened. He hid under the seat, but I thought it was absolutely wonderful, and I was totally captivated by the theatre. It was from that moment on that I decided that's all I wanted to do, to be an actor on the stage.
And never anything else? That was all you were going to do and you were determined to get there?
Yes, I did seem to have that singleness of mind. That was the only thing I really wanted to do. And
of course, I mean, history proves you made it.
Well, yes. I mean, I was told not to tell my grandmother because my grandmother was almost Victorian, you know, and going on the stage was frowned upon. We were regarded as, not quite. And so I had to tell her that I was going to be a teacher because that's what she was. But I knew in my heart of hearts I was not going to be a teacher. I was going to be an actor.
Right. And where did your Christian faith begin in all of this in your early years?
Well, my parents, I think they had some sort of faith. I mean, they didn't go to church very much, but they seemed to believe in God. But the one who really led me to Jesus was my granny. She came to live with us. She was blind and quite old and frail, although looking back now she wasn't all that old. She was about the same age as me. And she came to live with us, and I used to creep into her room because I loved being with her, and I knew she had a tin of sweets under the bed as well. And she used to sit me on her knee. We used to talk about all sorts of things, and I used to curl her hair, and she used to say, well, you make me feel very pretty. And she started teaching me about Jesus and told me Bible stories, taught me how to pray, say little prayers, and how to sing nice little children's songs, about Jesus. And I suppose I caught really quite early a strong faith from my granny. And then I went to Durham High School for Girls, which was really quite closely affiliated to the cathedral in Durham. We used to go there for high days and holidays, and in the chapter house, and we were taken there for services and things. And I found in there a great sense of spirituality and a longing to be close to God. So really, my home was followed on by my school and the good teachers there who encouraged us to have faith. So when I was young, I had a really strong faith.
When you began to get into the theatre and entertainment, I mean, was it easy to live that Christian life?
I did for a while, but then so many things happened to me. I was working, I got married, I had my first child. So many things happened, and I gradually found that I didn't have time to go to church as often. I think quite honestly the world took over. I had a very busy professional life. I was extremely ambitious, not necessarily a good thing, not necessarily a bad thing either. But gradually I walked away from my faith. It was quite hard. There aren't many people in our business who are Christians. My husband wasn't a Christian. Not that he objected to my faith, but I didn't get any encouragement there, and we didn't share anything of it. But yes, I just gradually drew away from it, and I really got very far away from it, to the place where I was actually asking myself, what on earth was I doing all that praying and going to church and hymn singing? What was all that about? I seemed to be able to manage perfectly well without God and all that. How wrong I was.
I think one of your latest books, Show Me the Way, sort of deals with some of this difficult time when you were, as it were, out there in the wilderness.
Yes.
How did that come about, the book itself?
Well, what happened was I'd done lots of things that I was not very happy with. And I had a great sense of shame, emptiness, longing for something I didn't know what. And it suddenly hit me. I think I was about 45. My dog died. I was very, very fond of my dog, and we used to take lovely walks together, and during that time I did feel myself elated and really extremely happy and peaceful when I was walking my dog. And when he died, I was heartbroken, absolutely heartbroken. And I was sitting in the orchard looking at his grave one day and really upset. And I thought, whatever is the matter with me? Your dog's died. You've had other dogs die before. And then I thought, no, but with this dog, when I'd been walking along, looking at all the beautiful things in the countryside, and I felt so close to God without realising it. In fact, it had taken me back to my childhood faith that time. But I hadn't quite caught on to the fact that that's what it was. And suddenly I thought, I've got to get back to that. I've got to get back to that innocence, to that security, the confidence of knowing that God loves me and that I'm loved. And So I went down to the church and confessed that I was really sorry. And I asked God to take me back. And I felt very strongly that he did. And from that moment on, my life changed, completely changed.
It's tremendous to hear about that forgiveness. I mean, thank you for being so honest about your life, but it's great, isn't it, that God can come and can forgive and can deal with that past.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. It's just like a sort of cloak dropping off you, a cloak of shame kind of falls to the ground, and suddenly you feel, oh, I'm safe. It's the most wonderful feeling. And God works in the most wonderful way, because I was in the butcher's about 2 days later, and this lady said to me, "You're Wendy Craig, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "I've been looking forward to meeting you, because we have a little group of women that meet on a Wednesday morning, and we have a speaker, and we talk about our faith, and we pray together, and we give each other strength." Well, she'd never met me before. She didn't know that I'd suddenly come back to the Lord. And so she said, "Would you like to come?" Well, of course, it was God handing me on a plate exactly what I needed, because I had so much to catch up on. I'd been away from him so long. So every Wednesday morning I used to trot along with all these lovely Christian ladies, some very good speakers. They gave me tapes to play. They gave me books to read. They gave me so much help and encouragement just when I needed it. That's how God works.
He's amazing, isn't it? And of course, now you're more involved in Christians in Entertainment, which of course is a group that really seeks to support Christians, isn't it, in that field?
That's right.
Yeah. And do you know many, I mean, do you still manage to get together with other Christians in that realm? I mean, I know you're travelling a lot, and of course you're on the road quite a bit, but is there still that desire and that opportunity for fellowship like that?
Not when I'm on the road, no, obviously not. But wherever I am, I go to a church. And it's amazing. You walk in, obviously some people know my face and they're friendly. But yes, I keep in touch through going to different churches. It's so interesting. I go to Methodist churches, I've been to a Catholic church, and kind of local, what do you call them?
Fellowship, Christian
fellowship. Yeah, Christian fellowship churches. And so I keep in touch that way. But of course I have my own church, which is the United Reformed Church in the little village near me. And they're a very close community and very loyal and good Christian people, loving and kind.
Through all of this, have there been any scriptures that God has really spoken to you and that you can remember, coming through out of those difficult times, that he's really spoken to you?
Well, it's funny, actually, you should say that, because in my dressing room, I always keep this book, which is favourite passages from the Bible that I can just leaf through and get comfort from. I just copy them out into this little notebook. And I think probably I have two favourite ones. Well, I'm a very nervous person on stage. I don't have a lot of confidence. Yeah. I go out there thinking, I'm really quaking with fear. But if I read this before I go out, and I usually do, it gives me the courage to get out there and do it, This is Joshua, chapter 1, verse 9. "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." Now that's a wonderful one, isn't wonderful. It? And the other one is, I think we're always looking for peace of mind. It seems to be something that people long for. And this is Isaiah 26, verse 3. "You will keep in perfect peace him whose mind is steadfast, because he trusts you." Yeah.
I mean, God's word is so wonderful, isn't it? Because on one level it's just words, but on another level it speaks right into the heart. And as you read it, it's obvious that those are scriptures that God has placed in your heart and are so real to you.
Yes, absolutely. And so often when you're reading the Bible, you're sort of reading it, and then suddenly something will speak to you, and you thought, that's for me. That little bit that I'm reading now, that's for me.
I must say, you've never, in the performances I've seen, I've been struck that you're a nervous person.
Well, I know. I mean, most actors are nervous.
Yes.
But we don't show it,
Yes.
obviously. But inside, it's a huge effort and takes a lot of courage. I was standing out there today in a house full of children. Wonderful. They were having such a wonderful time. And I was standing on the corner of the stage in this vast auditorium, so dark, and I'm standing there alone, and there are spotlights coming on me, and I suddenly felt tremendously exposed, you know, just one figure standing there all alone in the dark with these lights, and all these little eyes watching you and longing for it to be wonderful, you know. And I had a moment of complete terror. But you have to just say, stop it, and just get on with it.
That's amazing, and I guess years of experience also helps at such time. But I mean, we were listening to the kids. I mean, they were so thoroughly enjoying it.
Oh, they were.
And of course, you as the good fairy, you know, I mean, you're the one, of course, that's going to make it all okay.
Make it all okay, yeah.
So that they love to cheer you and boo and hiss the evil person. I mean, do you get taken up with that? I mean, do you like those sorts of audiences that are really involved? With
Yes, I do. I think involved audiences really give you a lift. Yes, it's wonderful to play to a house of children as well, because they've got nothing holds them back. They're really into it. And sometimes you look into their little faces and their eyes are bright and they're so excited and they're taking such an interest in what's going on, and it's thrilling. It's thrilling.
I mean, over the years, of course, you've been involved in many forms of entertainment. I mean, television, especially theatre, pantomime. Is there any one that you prefer, or do you just like performing, as you said, right from your early age?
Yes, I think I've always liked performing. I like every form of acting. But now that I'm older, I have to admit that I prefer television. Because, for one reason only, you can do a retake. Because, you know, you can't always rely quite on your memory. And sometimes it goes a little askew, just a tiny little glitch in the brain. And suddenly you think, what am I talking about? But with television, you can go again.
Yes.
That's the only thing, really.
So are there any wonderful outtakes of you on these programmes of things where you've suddenly gone wrong?
Probably, yes. I think there have been some hilarious ones, yes.
Yeah. But you enjoy pantomime, but of course there are no retakes. But I guess you can overcome some mishaps. But when the other performer goes wrong and doesn't give the cue that you're supposed to, how difficult is that to bring it back together again?
It's tough. I mean, all the adrenaline suddenly goes woof to your brain, which gives you a shock, and then somehow something comes and you get it together again. You get it back on the railway lines, as it were. But it's a terrible moment.
I'm very disappointed to hear that there's no more Royal. Because I have to say, my wife and I love that. I'm sure with many others. We love that programme.
Yes.
Very disappointed that there's not.
It is sad, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
We had, I think, 9 episodes that have never been shown.
Really? That's a shame. Well, we must try and put pressure on them to get them shown. But, I mean, what is next for you? I don't
know. I just wait and see what the Lord provides. There is talk of doing a very nice comedy radio serial, which I'd like to do. I was reading the scripts of those before I came here. But otherwise, I really don't know. There might be another Reggie Perrin.
Really?
Yes, because I play Martin Clunes' mother in that.
Yes, that's right. Yes. With pantomime, there's a lot that goes on between good and evil and all the rest of it. Do you see spiritual lessons in pantomime? Do you ever stop and think, good's going to triumph every time over evil? Do you see any of those things in pantomime?
Oh yes, I do think there is a spiritual quality about pantomime. It's a very old art form. And I mean, when you think the first theatre was plays that went round the street, the medieval mystery plays, all about good and evil and Jesus and the resurrection and everything. And I have a feeling that some of that is in the pantomime as well, because you do get this big struggle between good and evil. And there are moments when I'm on the stage with the wicked fairy and thinking, yes, this is the battle that goes on through life.
Absolutely, absolutely. Looking back over quite a long career, if you don't mind me saying so, but
56 years,
56
yes.
years, and still going strong. But looking back over that, are there things that you haven't yet done that you would have longed to do? Parts to play, or any other form of entertainment you really, yes, I would still love to do.
But
that.
what other forms of entertainment are there, darling? I've done radio, television, film, theatre. No, I don't think so. I think I've had a really wonderful experience in show business. I've done lots of different things. I can't ask for more. There's no parts that I'm particularly lusting after. I'd have quite liked to have played Lady M, which I'm not allowed to say in the theatre, but it's the Scottish play.
That's the one, yes.
And I'd like to have played Hamlet's mother, Gertrude. But I'm too old for that now, so forget it.
And what would you really like people to remember you for?
Two things, I think. Butterflies.
Yes.
Nanny. But just generally, I hope making people laugh. All the comedy things I've done. Laughter to me is so important. It can really cheer people up when they're low. So I think having the opportunity to make people laugh when they might have been feeling depressed or worried, even just for half an hour, is a wonderful gift to have been given.
And I suppose we're coming to the end of the interview, but somebody watching this, and they're in that place where you were all those years ago saying, I want to be an actor, I want to be in entertainment. What advice would you give them?
Well, it's got to be the thing that you want to be more than anything else at all. You've got to be absolutely sure that that's the one thing you want to do, because it's tough. It really is tough. It's difficult to get into drama schools. It's difficult to get parts when you come out. It's an awful lot is due to who you know or who you might meet or circumstances, and sometimes it never happens and sometimes it does. Go for it if you can't think of anything else that you want to do. Otherwise, don't.
Because, as you say, there are so many want-to-be actors today, and there are so few parts, really, aren't there? And it seems to be sometimes getting less. Theatres are closing down, and maybe they're not making so many programmes. So, do you have a sadness about some of those things that are no longer with us anymore?
No, not really. I think it'll all go on. It'll sort of dry out and then come back again. It's always been like that in our business.
Yeah. And, I mean, I remember talking to Jimmy Cricket last year and Sid Little the year before. I asked them the same question. When would you stop? When would you retire? And I think both of them basically gave me the same sort of answer when the phone stops ringing. Is that you? Is this so much now you feel it's what God has given you? It's feel that God has given you the opportunity. Is that how you feel, Wendy, that only when people stop wanting you, that's when you'll stop?
Well, certainly when people stop wanting you. But I think for me, the thing that would make me stop is if I couldn't stand up and I couldn't remember my lines. Then a little voice inside me would say, "That's it, curtains."
But that's not happening at the moment, is it?
Not yet. Perilously near.
And each year back into pantomime again?
Oh, I don't know.
Right.
If I get asked, yes, I would certainly consider it.
But you
yes.
love it, you know. And
Yeah.
you get in there and you make them, make them cheer, make them really appreciate you. I think is the
Yes.
answer to
Oh,
that.
I enjoy that, especially for the children.
Yeah.
And at Christmas as well.
Yes. Yeah. What were you doing for Christmas?
I'm going to my son's for the
Right.
day because I only get Christmas Day off.
That's right. Yes. Is it a time you really want to be with the family? Is that how you see Christmas?
Oh, yes, very much so. Yes, I want to be with my son and his wife, and they're in the business as well.
Right.
They're musicians, and they're on tour with the Royal Ballet Sinfonia all the time, so they have Christmas Day off, and we'll just get together and have a quiet meal together, and it'll be lovely.
Great. Wendy, really appreciate the time you've given us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
And another show tonight, and then 2 every day for the rest of the run
Yes,
here.
another 10:30 tomorrow morning. And, yes, 2 every day.
Right. And you're looking very well on it.
Thank you. Thank you.
But thank you very much indeed for taking time.
Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.